Hi, I'm Andrew with Investors Hub, and we're going to do some quick introductory stuff, then we'll get right to the interview. So first of all, we're going to be talking with Ted Ohashi. He writes the Cannabis Report for Investors Hub, and we're going to be chatting with him about two companies that are in his model portfolio that are in that publication. And one of them is Khiron, and the other one is Lexaria. And we're going to be talking about some stuff that happened to those two companies fairly recently. Chapter points are up next, then we'll hear from Ted. So you mentioned in the Cannabis Report that there was some news coming out of Mexico that would be good for Khiron. So talk to me a little bit about what's going on.
Well, Mexico historically has been kind of a troubled government administration, and the passage of cannabis regulations has been delayed time and again, even though their Supreme Court ordered it and gave them deadlines. It's just the way, I guess, less developed country governments operate. But now they've come forward with their regulations on medical cannabis. And so medical cannabis was initially approved 3 years ago. So it's taken 3 years to get from the approval to the regulations. So, but everybody's quite excited about it because Mexico is a very large market. It's certainly the largest market in Latin America. It will be, when it happens, the largest legalized market in the world. So it's a major opportunity in the cannabis field.
So what specific ties does Khiron have with Mexico?
Well, so 3 years ago, when all of this got quite exciting, Khiron was very active, and they recruited President Fox, the former president of Mexico, to their board of directors. And he still is a member of the board of directors. I've spoken to him. I've met him at various events. He's a real advocate for cannabis, and he's a real advocate for Khiron. So they have good links into the infrastructure in Mexico. They've announced that they're going to start by opening medical clinics, which is what they're good at. They've got 4 open now, I think, in Latin America. And so if they get the go-ahead and all the licensing in place, they will open a clinic possibly in the first half of this year. And then after that, clinics can be just kind of cookie cuttered, and they can expand that presence quite quickly.
Lexaria share price took a dive whenever it became LEXX on the NASDAQ. So talk to me a little bit about what happened there.
Okay, so Lexaria was uplisting from the Canadian Stock Exchange to the NASDAQ exchange. Really quite a significant move upward. And as part of that move, they also did a financing with an American brokerage firm or an American investment banker. And to get the financing done and to make sure that it was successful and all of those good things, they priced the offering quite low. So it came out at $5.25 per unit, which was a share and a warrant. That was after a 30-for-1 rollback. So on the old basis, the stock should have been kind of in the $8 range. And so they did the financing at 5.25. So the market adjusted down. And that often happens when you do financings of this sort. So I think the shares will recover quite quickly. They have been already. So it's kind of another pothole in the road, but they're through it now, and they've got their listing, and so everything is looking quite positive for them.
Okay, so the big macro question for cannabis. So, what's the chances of cannabis being federally legalized in the U.S. in 2021?
Well, I would say that it's probably less than 50-50. Here's the funny thing that's happened is the Democrats almost unanimously are pro-cannabis, pro-legalization. Kamala Harris, the vice president, is, Bernie Sanders, all of the well-known people in the Democratic Party except one. And that one person is Joe Biden, who happens to be the president. So that has slowed down what people were thinking was going to happen to cannabis in the United States. I think other legislation will go forward. There's the Safe Banking Act. There's the MORE Act. All of these are designed to kind of level the playing field for cannabis operators so that they can access banking services, insurance services, all kinds of things that normal businesses just take for granted. But the cannabis companies couldn't get because banks in the U.S. are often federally regulated. And as a federally regulated business, they didn't want to be seen as lending to an activity that was illegal according to federal law. And so that was a problem, and it remains a problem. And it probably will remain a problem through 2021. But I would think before the next midterms, there's a good chance that there will be some degree of either legalization or decriminalization. Now, the two are quite different, but at least decriminalization and maybe legalization.
Anything else you'd like to add?
Well, just that, if this happens, it will be really big news for the cannabis industry and operators in the U.S. I mean, it will kind of, use whatever term you want, blow the doors off the industry. And, you'll see very rapid expansion. I think the stock market will be very optimistic. And so, although we might talk casually about, well, maybe it'll happen not this year, but next year, when it does happen, it will be a very, very major event.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you like the content. You can also follow us on Twitter at iHub_vision, and I'll see you again soon.